Week 4 college football, last weekend of September for college football here. Last week, so joining me as always, I start there. Ben and Ferry. Week 3 was I thought it was a very fun week of college football between the whiteout. We've got a very good game there. 3:30 SEC, Alabama, Florida, and then the noon we had Cincinnati getting a big win at Indiana, and a very entertaining game. It was just a great day all around. Want to start with records first. And best record last week was Ferry, I think, who was 8-7. 0-1 on locks. Florida State. Should we want to start there?
I thought it was trying to be, man the suit, fade myself of how easy it looked, but they stink. That's all I could say. That's a bad team, and I feel bad for that program and those fans.
Yeah, it stinks for sure. I'd imagine, going to Florida State or being a lifelong Florida State fan, there's probably a lot of, I'd imagine Florida, because Jacksonville's like the team's new-ish.
Right.
There's probably a lot more Florida State fans down there. Like that's tough. But you're 28, 22, and 1 overall. That's 56%. Very good. 1-2 on locks. Last week I went 9-8-1, 1-0 on locks. Shout out Cincinnati. 26, 23, and 3, 53%. 3-0 on locks overall. I fucked up my record. And Ben 8-12 last week. 0-1 on locks.
I went 1-0.
Wait, no, 1-0 on locks. Who was your lock again?
Michigan State.
Michigan State. Yeah, I messed that up. 1-0 on locks, so you're now 2-2 overall. Because you gave out that one. You gave out the Fade Ferry lock as well as your other lock.
Which is the only lock that I won.
26, 37, and 1, 41%.
Not great.
As the weather gets colder, do you get hotter? Would you describe yourself as that?
Yeah, I'm like a November, December type of football guy.
You feel like, to me, that like no matter what you're down, you make it all up in bowl season.
Well, yeah, that's when I shine because I just know football. But it's hard early on because you don't know what teams are fraudulent and whatnot yet. So it's kind of tough.
I have 2 things with you. One, you nailed Michigan State. That was like anytime you get your lock is an underdog that wins outright and just dominates. Miami was never in that game. That has to feel good.
Yeah, that was good. Everything else wasn't great last week, but glad Michigan State, they're my team now. I'm rolling with them for the rest of the year.
And then secondly, Pitt falls to Western Michigan, who, if you've been following the program, my week 1 future plus 1,200 to win the MAC on Western Michigan was very encouraging to see them beat a Power 5 school in a sold out, crazy environment.
None of that's true.
How would you compare? I don't want this to make a shit on Pitt show, but how would you compare that atmosphere to, say, if Temple played Villanova?
I think it would be about the same. I don't think there's any difference, to be honest.
So just ruining the field.
I don't know where you're trying to come with that. Like,
it's just ruining the field for Sunday. That's all it's doing.
Give me a break. I can't believe you just tried to say that. Like, give me a break. No, but Pitt's broken my heart again. Every year I talk myself into them. They beat like a shit team week 1 by like 40. I get excited. They beat Tennessee. I thought the next 2 weeks were going to be cakewalks. Now I'm worried we might not even beat New Hampshire next week. Just tough. The 1 year I've watched Pitt and been a fan. We have a good quarterback, and everything else is complete shit outside of like go wide receivers. And it just shouldn't happen. No words. The coach should be fired probably in the near future. I don't even want to talk about Pitt anymore. They just make me sad.
Is there any coordinators or coaches out there not named Ricky Venuto that you would hire to be the next Pitt head football coach? Is there anyone you have your eye on?
It's kind of a crapshoot, I think. I don't know. I'd have to I have to do more research. Probably some guy from Clemson, Alabama, obviously, but
Bill O'Brien.
Ooh,
yeah, sure, why not? I'm in, but
Hugh Freeze.
probably an OC, not a DC. Maybe I don't know. That's a future Ben issue. I'm just trying to get through this season.
Fair. And just last pick question: the Pitt future over 7 wins.
I mean, there's still ACC play, so maybe
That's in your
turn it
favor.
around. Probably not, but it would be tough if their one loss this year was Western Michigan.
Yeah, that would be tough. Clemson, and we'll get into Clemson. Their 10-point favorites at NC State is the most beatable they've looked in years. Also for the ACC, maybe North Carolina's year. Ferry, West Virginia covered. They made it tough.
Oh yeah.
do you want to go into, because were you with your dad or were you with your stepdad this weekend?
I was not with my dad. I was watching the game while doing work at the same time in a hotel room at the beach. It was stressful. I never once felt like, okay, this definitely, like, even up 14-0, even, third quarter, midway through third quarter, I never got that feeling because I know this team, I know how it goes. I was like, I'm never feeling comfortable. I don't, it's one of those things when the fat lady sings, I got to wait for it. And that was very evident. That interception, I thought, was one of the worst. Like, if you know what I'm talking about, that interception towards the end of the game was one of the most.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, I can't. I almost shit myself. But hey, they covered. That's that they covered. As a fan, they couldn't be happier that they won. I would have liked a little bit better momentum heading into, the big week this week, but I'll take it. They got the job done. It's not. I'd rather be the team below Pittsburgh than in Pittsburgh. So
that was not necessarily. I mean, you guys lost week 1. I don't want to hear it.
Maryland beats everyone week 1, though. They beat Texas twice week 1.
Yeah, I mean, they have a Tua brother on the team, so
completely unnecessary shot you just took. I'm not. Whatever, Ferry. You play Oklahoma brawl this week, right? You play Oklahoma?
Yeah, in Norman.
Backyard brawl.
Good luck, bro.
All right, so Ferry, we'll just keep rolling with you here. Your best and worst, or winners and losers of the week, and then I guess anything else you have from week 3. I know pre-show we talked Alabama, Florida. We'd get into, so if you wanted to roll with that too, you can go all throughout that.
Yeah, I'll just address that real quick because it was gut wrenching. I gave out the winning pick on the show, but in reality, I didn't take it till day of at 60.5. It finished at 60 when I thought I had 60 the whole time. That 2-point conversion, I was sweating my ass off, and didn't get it done. And I was really hoping for overtime, so I could easily get an easy win there, but. It happens. That's life. That's gambling. That's how it goes. It was the right pick, and
right pick.
I wasn't taking. I was gonna go to sleep that night taking the under. It's couldn't do.
Right.
But now that that's taken care of, I'll address biggest winner, biggest loser. They both go hand in hand for me. Biggest winner is those virgins out in Provo, BYU. They have now beaten 3 Pac-12 teams, 3-0 this year between Arizona, Utah, and Arizona State, all in pretty good fashion. They never really looked down. Their defense looks very strong.
Future Big 12 team.
That's another. Oh yeah, I couldn't be happier with the way they're looking.
Conference.
I don't know how I feel about when West Virginia has to fly out to Provo, but I'll deal with that in 2 years. It brings me to the rest of the schedule. They have a home game against Boise State. They have at Baylor, at Washington State, home against UVA, and at USC in the finale. So, I mean, think about it. They run the table, and Cincinnati runs the table. Which team? I know you're on your Bearcats, Chuck, but BYU or Cincinnati, they both run their tables. It could be interesting, and could cause for more chaos in the college football playoff, hopefully. And to piggyback off of that, the biggest loser is just the Pac-12 in general. I mean, that is... Other than Oregon, that conference is in awful shape. Colorado stinks. They proved that, which might show something about A&M. 2 weeks ago, getting shut out at home to Minnesota is pretty bad. Arizona is approaching Kansas Duke level. They've lost 15 or something straight games. That's
That's crazy. I had no idea that was even a stat. That's crazy.
They haven't won in 2 years, so that they're approaching that Kansas Duke. They're heading that direction.
The Vandy.
Vanderbilt. That's probably the best comparison to make of them. And then UCLA having a tough loss to blow that lead at home to Fresno State. So I mean, to be honest, the Pac-12 is not looking good unless Oregon can run their table, which I don't see any team should be beating them. Obviously USC without a coach now. So yeah, that's just their overall, biggest.
Does USC even play them in the regular season?
I don't think so.
They might not because they're on different sides.
Yeah, I don't think they do. But
I still think, because sorry to cut you off, but I know they've looked terrible. Going to Washington's still difficult, and that's now going to be their Super Bowl for the season. For Washington, it will be, can we ruin Oregon's season? I'm still putting that as like, all right, Oregon could trip up here. I know they stink, but it's like,
a loss.
It's college football, right?
That's like they stink though. They're not even like a competent team.
But I mean, that is a tough environment, and that is college football. And these teams do lose one game a year. Most teams are not Alabama. I think, but that only hurts the Pac-12.
Did Washington lose last week?
No, they're 1-2.
Yeah.
The over 9 wins is back on officially.
From the table.
just have to go 8-1 the rest of the way for a push.
Godspeed to you, Chuck.
Thank you. And then, so your winners and losers of week 3.
Biggest winners, Michigan State, obviously. Cincy we all had, and then I closed out the day well. I started it really bad. Fresno State and Hawaii, both big winners. Big losers.
I was mostly thinking like in general of but I mean, this works too. If you think Alabama was one of the, I just meant in general of college football, not really your bet specific. Although if you wanted to keep doing that, go for it, because I kind of liked hearing your biggest wins and losses. But
Alabama, they're my biggest loser. They might not make the college football playoff. They should have won that game by more, but they're clearly fraudulent, I think. Miami also stinks. I think Miami stinks, and Alabama just beat up on a bad Miami team.
I agree with that.
But like, what about Florida being a good team? And
I don't think Florida's good either.
I think Florida's a good team.
I agree. Being at the Swamp, I don't think it's a testament against Alabama. They still did lose.
I think it is. They should have won that game.
I mean,
Alabama wins that game. Oh well, yeah, by more. I meant, sorry.
It still didn't really feel like they were going to lose. I don't know about you guys, but I
thought have that they were going to lose.
I did. There's the point where I thought Florida was going to win the game. I did.
Fair. Okay.
I mean, the first quarter was very impressive, but the rest of the way, Florida outscored them. It was 21-3 at one point and ended 31-29.
Yeah.
26-10 after that start is pretty impressive. I think you should give more credit to Florida. That was an excellent performance.
Me?
Yeah.
Their quarterback stinks. I don't see them going anywhere. Sorry.
I
do agree, though, that Bam is very beatable.
But so is every team. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this year, every team, like Bama, still, I think they're proving to be like one of the better top 4 teams that shouldn't be losing. Like all these teams are going to lose. Like I don't think there's going to be any undefeated. I mean, Georgia, you can make the argument, but I don't think any team goes undefeated.
Yeah, well, now it's interesting. So we have the Florida-Georgia line battle coming up on October 30th when we're in Detroit. So that'll be a huge game. Alabama, I don't know how long A&M's quarterback is out for. It's like every day I'm like, oh, is their quarterback back? So I have no idea. But they will have to go to A&M. A game that now looks like the total is going to be set at 95.5 is Ole Miss Alabama next week. That game's going to be awesome.
Yeah, that's must watch. Like must watch TV.
Yeah, that. So and then Georgia really, I think their real only test left is Florida because the SEC East isn't good.
No.
relative to like the West is much better. But yeah, I mean, this is one of the more wide open fields of college football we've had in years, I think.
Right.
Kind
Especially
of,
with the two non-power conference teams looking
Who
strong.
does
too.
Ole Miss play this week?
they're off.
Okay, I was just looking. Sorry.
Yeah, they're off. They're prepping for bad. Ole Miss is off. Cincinnati's off. Those are like the two big ones because Cincinnati's getting ready to go to South Bend next week. For their that's the season.
Next week's gonna be good then.
Yeah. Which now, so my biggest winners and losers. Winners, well, my biggest loser was Miami and Clemson. Not to shit on the ACC, but Clemson. Miami stinks.
Conference, obviously.
Miami.
What's worse, ACC or Pac-12? I mean, I don't know. It's debatable.
Pac-12.
All right. I mean, it's pretty debatable.
It is a good debate. Clemson can't go down to the wire against Georgia Tech like that. They need to blow everyone out the rest of the way to make the college football playoff, or they're fucked. They're going to need a lot of crazy shit to happen. They're going to need Cincinnati to drop one. They're going to need Oregon to drop one, Oklahoma to drop one. They need a lot of help. Miami just stinks. The U is not back, unfortunately. Biggest winners for me, Ole Miss looks like they can actually beat. Like they'll probably still give up a lot of points, but Matt Corral, like they're for real. They can put up a ton of points if they get one stop. Like it's almost become you need to keep up with Ole Miss versus like Ole Miss hoping that they can keep up with you, which is a interesting. If that even makes sense, like that's an interesting dynamic with that team. Like they are a legit, like they could be a top 10 team. I think they're legit.
It is hard to keep up though. I see that with what happened as from experience with Geno Smith, West Virginia. They went up to number 5. Their defense was ranked 100, like 10th in the country. They were putting up 70 points a game, like for the first 4 games, and then the 5th game, I think it was against Texas Tech and Lubbock. They lost 45-7. They just couldn't. They got so tired. Like it felt like, especially with an SEC grueling schedule, like it could easily. But like, hey, that kid is better than Geno Smith, at least in college ball.
Yeah, he looks real. And Lane Kiffin, who I don't even know who was it. Holgerson was.
It was
West
Holgerson,
Virginia's
yeah.
coach.
Yeah.
Lane Kiffin might be a little better.
Yeah. No hard feelings. Trust me, Lane Kiffin's better.
And then Penn State's a big winner. I never really thought Auburn was a great team to begin with. I don't really like that they were ranked personally. But, anytime they kind of needed a win like that, because, for all intents and purposes, Wisconsin gave them the first game, but they controlled Auburn from tip to final horn, to use a basketball expression. And Georgia, I think, was a big winner because Bama looked unstoppable, but it was because they were playing Miami and they looked beatable. I still love my Georgia to win the national championship prediction. I think that they can bully Alabama's line on both sides of the ball. And that was very encouraging to see how Florida ran the ball against Alabama. Georgia can score and they can stop. I think they can really, that's going to be all. We're getting ahead of ourselves going towards the end of the season. That SEC championship is going to be incredible. Okay, so games of the week. We got first big noon kickoff in Chicago, Illinois. Don't know if you guys knew that or not. Notre Dame at versus Wisconsin at Soldier Field. I wrote it down at -5.5. I saw that it was 6.5 today. So whatever line you guys want to go off of in the over under 46.5. Ben, we'll start with you there.
I think both these teams aren't very good. I think Wisconsin still has a lot on the line this season. They only lost a game to, I can't even think of who they lost to. Week 1, Penn State, Penn.
Yeah.
I think
they only had 2 games. They beat Eastern Michigan by a lot, and then we're off last week.
Yeah, so I think I like Notre Dame plus 6.5 here. I do think Wisconsin wins. I just don't think they're good enough offensively to cover 6.5 by a touchdown. I think this is a close, like 4.7 game. It's also in Soldier Field, so I like the under. I think this is going to be a really ugly game.
I like that. Fair.
I do agree pretty much with everything Ben said.
The under is 46.5, by the way.
Yes.
Yep. My pick is under 46.5. I saw the line get to 6 today. I think it's disrespectful to Notre Dame, despite how much I love disrespecting that team. I think every Notre Dame, like, heavy like Notre Dame fans, like when you see Cowboys, Notre Dame, like these teams that have like they're never underdogs. You know what I mean? Because everyone's hammering them.
No, well, actually, I'm switching my pick.
Switching the pick. Okay.
-6.5.
Fair. Like I would take that if I didn't hate Notre Dame so much, but like I can't root for that pick, so I'm going to go with under 46.5. But I think it's interesting, like I said about the teams that really do sway the gambling odds just because of how much money is on that side. I think Notre Dame money line bettors are going to be loving that juicy money line this week, because they don't usually see that kind of juicy of a line. But for me personally, I got to go with under 46.5 because I don't think Wisconsin can't score, in my opinion. But under 46.5 is my pick.
An interesting look ahead. I'm just looking at the CBS Sports app. Notre Dame's a 2.5-point favorite next week against Cincinnati.
Interesting.
Which I think is very interesting.
Oh wait, also shout out Big Kev. He's flying out to Chicago for the game.
Awesome.
Yeah, shout out. I'm gonna save my pick for later. You guys will.
Some Curb Street action here. All right.
Yeah, so I'm gonna say. Yeah, I'm gonna save the pick for later.
Actually, I'm stripping the spread. I'm just doing the under. I don't like either of these teams.
You ride back.
I'm riding with the Buff man.
Trying to think. Oh, any factor Jack Cohn revenge game?
None.
No.
It's interesting, but Notre Dame
playing the guy that replaced him after taking him to the
true.
Rose Bowl was a fumble away.
Didn't he get
from
injured,
winning
though?
the Rose Bowl?
Isn't that why he got replaced?
I think so. Yeah, and Graham Mertz was like a 5-star.
Yeah, I mean that's just college football.
We'd have Tyler Buckner would be starting, the freshman, if Jack Cohn was not there. All right. What were you gonna say?
I just don't have faith in Notre Dame quarterbacks. I've never seen in my life, Brady Quinn being their best one, Ian Book, and Tommy Rees,
all-time leader in Notre Dame history,
which isn't saying much.
Ian Book, 33
wins. Okay, fair.
I didn't know where you were going with that.
I guess Brady Quinn, Tommy Rees. I none of them are good quarterbacks.
Tommy Rees is the offense coordinator now. I don't know if you knew that.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
He's actually a pretty good offense coordinator.
Okay.
Like credit to I have to give him credit. Like he gets the guys rolling. Their defense coordinator stinks. Rutgers at Michigan. Michigan laying 18.5. 3 of the most unimpressive blowout wins I've ever seen in my life from Michigan. They blew out Western Michigan, blew out Washington, and like Southern Illinois, Eastern Illinois, Northern Illinois.
Yeah,
one of the Illinois.
Michigan.
Yeah. And then Rutgers coming in undefeated, over under 51.5 at the Big House. Ben, what are you thinking?
Well, I don't think Michigan's that good. I just think the teams they played stink. Rutgers, I saw was at 19.5 yesterday. I looked again today. It's 20.5. If it goes another point, right now I'm taking Rutgers plus 20.5. I think Rutgers is actually good. I think they lose, but I don't think they lose by more than 2 scores. If it goes to 21.5, it's going to be a bigger bet because I will love them then. I can see it approaching that line.
I definitely agree with you. I'm taking Rutgers in the points in this one. It's bordering on disrespectful because people see how Michigan might be good, and then
everyone thinks
it's Rutgers.
Is a joke.
Yep, agreed. Completely agree.
They're back.
Yes, Rutgers, the birthplace of college football. Ferry, what do you think?
I mean, Graciano singing a song, but I mean, Michigan minus 20 is what I saw. I really didn't know. I don't know what to do with this game. I kept flipping back and forth. I mean, I think I'll ride with the squad. I originally have on my paper here Michigan minus 20, but you know what? I'll ride with the squad. Rutgers plus 20. And I also expect Michigan. I mean, Michigan still should win, but I think they keep riding this high, to have like a huge letdown like they always do at the end of the season.
Yeah, that could definitely be the case. We'll have another whiteout, Michigan at Penn State this year.
Yes.
All right, next game in Jerry World, Texas A&M, Arkansas. Arkansas plus 5.5, over under 48. This is like in the gauntlet of Arkansas schedule right here of what they have coming up. Ferry, you can lead us off.
Exactly what you're saying about the schedule. I don't know what to think about the spread. I mean, I obviously, we talked off air about Arkansas with how well they started off, especially against the spread. I loved it at first, but then seeing them playing in Dallas, it just feels weird. If it was at, in Arkansas, that would be a different story. So I don't like the spread. I don't like that I think I saw 5.5. I didn't like that at all either way. So I'm just going with under 47.5 because A&M seems to have a decent defense. They have a home crowd with them. The freshman QB might not be able to score as much. I'm just going to go under 47.5.
Ben.
I love Texas A&M. I think they'll be prepared. They've been top 10. I feel like the last couple of years feels a lot similar to when Texas had to go to Arkansas. Everyone was high on Texas. I picked Texas, and Arkansas beat the shit out of them. I think Texas A&M beats the shit out of Arkansas. Arkansas is not bad in any way. I just don't see them going undefeated late into the season. I think they could finish top 25, but I think Texas A&M covers by. I think they might win by more, but we'll see.
Yeah, Ben, I agree with you. I think this is, a lot of people love Arkansas now. Beating Texas isn't that impressive. This feels like to me, I think this is both teams' first SEC game. So yeah, A&M in an SEC opener, kind of in their backyard here, in Dallas. So I like, just A&M just has better players across the board and should be able to handle this team. I think this is a team they can like physically beat up. You can physically beat up Texas. A&M can do that to Arkansas. I think there's a big talent difference that because of Arkansas 16 now isn't reflected in the spread here. All right, in Norman, West Virginia, going to take on Lincoln Riley, Spencer Rattler, and the Sooners. Sooners still top 5. West Virginia coming off a very emotional win against Virginia Tech. Ferry, we're going to lead it off with you, of course. Oklahoma's a 16.5-point favorite. The over-under is 59.
Yeah, big game. Love the primetime game. I love that feeling, kind of being back to finally have a competitive team again. I like, I talked about it with my dad. He's not a big Neil Brown fan. I'm in on Neil Brown. I wasn't, heading into it, but I like what he's done with the defense the past few years. I like what's leading up to this game. I don't think I'm going to add a pick to my card for this game because you guys know what I'll be doing come Saturday.
West Virginia money line.
You're not going to be picking West Virginia right now. Just say it.
I ain't adding anything to my
card. What are we doing here, Ferry? Just add it to your card.
Because I don't generally like taking the spread for my teams. I generally don't. He's
adding it to his card.
Just because I'm taking their money line.
Are you gonna bet it like come the game?
I will bet their money line. I will be betting their money line heavily.
You think they'll cover?
Well,
I'm giving you 16 points added to your bet here.
That's true.
Since I'm taking their
money line.
For the show
record?
For the show record, I'll take the spread, but I will not be taking the spread financially. I will be taking their money line because my heart not.
See, you're giving them a better pick. You're giving the people 16 points.
That's fine. They can take that. Oklahoma has looked a little shaky. I think, that's evident. That's been pretty evident. West Virginia looks okay. First game against Maryland, a little shaky. Second game against, Long Island, 70 or whatever the hell it was. And then, you saw what happened last week. I think, and I know Chuck and I talked off air about this as well. West Virginia has yet to beat Oklahoma since joining the Big 12. They are 0-8 against Oklahoma. Was that you and I talking about that, Chuck? I believe. Maybe it was you or Teddy. I don't know, but they are 0-8 since joining the Big 12 against Oklahoma. They got to do it before 2 years from now. They can't go. They can't go 0-10. They didn't play them last year because COVID game got canceled, which would have been in Morgantown, which would have been great. But maybe this is the year. Maybe this is the year of college football craziness. Let's get it done.
I like West Virginia plus 16.5. I don't know if I'm actually going to bet it or not. we haven't seen it from Oklahoma yet. I feel like one of these weeks coming up, they're going to kick the shit out of someone in the Big 12. I don't know if it's this week. I don't know if it's next. One of the, and it'll be like, okay, this is the Oklahoma that people loved coming into the season, that could win a national championship, that could compete for a national championship, shooing for the CFP. I'll take until I see it. I haven't seen it. I'll say West Virginia. Ben, what do you think?
I'm gonna be quick. What'd you have the over under at?
59.
Okay, that was 56.5. It obviously went up. I was gonna take it at 56.5. I'm gonna take it at 59 over. Oklahoma shows up. That's it. I'll be fast with it.
All right. Do you guys want to talk about Nebraska and Michigan State? I threw it on here, but I was
not like, really. No,
not really. We'll skip it.
I don't want to talk about Nebraska.
What about Tennessee at Florida? Unless you have any thoughts, Barry, on.
I have no thoughts on either of these games.
Yeah, I have a pick for the Nebraska game, but I did not like anything about the Florida game.
Okay. I wanted to give the respect to Florida in SEC, because I know that's a big rivalry down there, Tennessee, Florida, going back to Peyton Manning and Steve Spurrier and all that jazz. So I wanted to throw it on there. Brief, very brief. I kind of like Tennessee first half.
I like that.
I don't know what it is. Probably like 10.5, 11, but
just out of
maybe
respect
Florida,
to tradition, yeah.
Florida comes out sleepwalking a little bit from that very, tough game a week ago. Might take them a while to get going. They might cover eventually, but you guys, anything on that, or just get into the cards?
I do like that first half, just out of tradition. They'll keep it close, hopefully, and then second half, who the hell knows what happens?
Yeah,
I'll be rooting for Tennessee.
So it makes Pitt's win look better. Yeah. So then Pitt would beat Florida, but Florida would lose to Western Michigan.
Yes.
Who would get blown out then by Michigan?
Yes.
Okay.
And then Florida beats Georgia, and then Georgia will beat Alabama. So then it's like Florida didn't lose to Alabama. And Pitt basically,
yes.
Pitt basically beat Georgia and Alabama.
Basically.
That's the best outcome of the season. Yeah, I agree with that. Well, that's something to monitor as we progress through the season. Is Pitt better than Alabama?
That's how Narduzzi keeps his job. Well, look what happened.
Oh, they better. Is Pitt better than Alabama? Weekly segment.
Yeah. So Tennessee money line is the pick this week. So next, all right, cards. Ben, you can lead us off. Give us everything but your lock.
Okay, so Wisconsin Notre Dame under 46.5. Wake Forest +4 at Virginia. Love the game. I love like 8 games on this card. I'm going to be betting them heavy. This is one of the 8. Army -8.5 versus Miami, Ohio. Another one I love. Army's for real this year. Western Michigan -3 versus San Jose State. This is in Western Michigan at 2 p.m. off a big win at my alma mater. There are only 3, I think, San Jose State flying across the country for a somewhat early time. I think Western Michigan could win big here. Clemson -10, love. I think it's a big bounce back week. Texas A&M -5 versus Arkansas. I love. Rutgers +20.5, love. UCLA -5.5 versus Stanford. Oklahoma -16 versus West Virginia. I'm adding it to my card. They're going to show up. Also have that over. UNC Georgia Tech over 63. I think UNC, they've scored 59, I think, the last 2 times they played. Then they can't play defense. I think this is another shootout.
Add it to my card. I like that pick a lot.
Indiana -9 versus Western Kentucky. I think Indiana's good. They showed me a lot against Cincinnati.
Ooh.
I think bounce back week going into they don't play Notre Dame to next week, but I think
they don't play them at all.
I thought they played them for some reason. Sorry, people. Big bounce back week though. Indiana -9. Ohio +15 versus Northwestern. I don't think Northwestern's very good. I think they win, but Ohio is decent. Iowa, Colorado State under 54. Iowa's just been shutting people out. I think they only let the team they played last week score like 7-10 points. They can't really score themselves, but I think that under safe. Georgia Vandy under 52.5. Same thing as Iowa. Wyoming -29.5 versus UConn. Reverse logic of Western Michigan, San Jose State. UConn's going to Wyoming, tough place to fly to and play.
Ooh, wait, 29.5?
Yes.
Might have to add.
And then Cornell at Yale. Both teams lost their first game. Yale did not show me a lot in their loss. They were 10-point favorites against a very bad team. I think Cornell comes out. They played better their week one. I think they will win. I don't have a spread on it yet. I assume they'll be dogs. I think they win at Hartford or New Haven, whoever it's at.
New Haven.
New Haven.
I like it. All right, Ferry.
All right. I already said under 46.5 in the Notre Dame Wisconsin game. I like Mississippi State plus 2.5 against LSU. I think that over seems way too easy. Like, I think everyone's gonna be riding that. I think so. I'm gonna stay away from that. And Mississippi State has to be pissed off after what happened last week against Memphis. I think LSU's not that good. And anytime SEC team is the underdog at home, I like to take it. Unless it involves Alabama. That's always a different story. Moving on to, I like Missouri -2 at BC. BC led up 28 points to UMass and only beat Temple last week. And another SEC school -2, like at BC. BC's been a joke for years. Got to take -2. Just out of Big 12 tradition, because I'm going to be very sad in 2 years when this game is no longer around. Got to take advantage of it. So over 61.5 in Texas Tech, which is in Austin. If it was in Lubbock, then I'd probably make that my lock for the week, because
there's more points scored there.
There's way more points scored in Lubbock, no matter who they're playing. But that's just more of a heart pick. Coastal Carolina, UMass, Coastal -36. Got to keep riding Coastal despite them not covering last week against a good Buffalo team, but UMass stinks. So get back on the Coastal Carolina bandwagon this week. I love the Army, Miami, Ohio over 48.5, because apparently Army can score now. A&M, Arkansas, I said under 47.5. I like Iowa State -7. This could be another one of those Bama, Florida over situations. If it goes to 7.5, I will not like it, because it's also in Waco, whatever you want to call it. But Iowa State
I like
-7.
that too, Ferry. I'm adding it.
If it goes to 7.5, I won't like it. But 7 and under, I love it.
I like it. Baylor stinks still, right?
I mean, they're 3-0 this year. They beat Kansas by 4 or 5 touchdowns last week, if that means anything to you.
Does not.
In Lawrence, if that adds.
In Lawrence?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a tough place to play.
Might have to delete it from my card.
Yeah,
I'm deleting it from my card.
I mean, the basketball stadium, the field house is in eyesight, so that's a tough place to play.
I'm taking Baylor +7 because I respect Lawrence too much.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, the field house is a tough place to play, But Matt Campbell, I just think they need to get a big win if they want to prove. I mean, if Purdy's this good quarterback that they've been talking about and hyping up, they got to get a big win. I added West Virginia +16.5 because if we already went over that. Clemson, I'm staying away from. I don't know what to think about that 10-point line. And that's in NC State at NC State.
At NC State, yep.
Yeah. I'm not,
It's a crazy line. I've never thought I'd see this day.
It's weird. And I didn't think NC State's defense was that bad from the 3 games that they had played. So I don't know. I'm just staying away.
NC State is supposedly the second best team in the ACC, according to many ACC experts, such as myself.
Oh.
I mean, that's not saying that much, because ACC is pretty much 2 through 14 or 16, or how many teams there are, all equally the same. In my opinion, no disrespect. it's not. I'm not trying to disrespect, but that's just how it is. I switched records to +20, staying away from Louisville, Florida State. Jesus Christ, what a fucking stink fest! Those teams.
That's like your thing on the show, though. You take Akron, Temple. You took another
you
stinky
had Florida
game.
State last week.
Well.
That was the other one.
Well, I had Florida State and I had UCF against Louisville, that Friday night game.
And you complain about the teams the next week.
Well, okay, Florida State was more of like a not because I thought anything of the game. It was just more so my gut being like, hey, I've gambled long enough now to think I don't trust myself.
I'm gonna pick a shit team.
Because I love the other team so much. I'm like, I should never love a pick this much, and I was wrong. And I should have loved it the way I did. But Louisville screwed me last week. I don't know if you saw the ending of that UCF game. Brutal ending.
I heard about it.
Brutal. And so therefore they're dead to me as well. So Stinkfest, stay away from those ACC shit shows. Weird game. Towson, San Diego State. The line is not out yet. But if San Diego State can be below 3 touchdowns I love it a lot. Love it a lot. Because Towson's not, real team. San Diego State.
FCS, yeah.
San Diego State's looked good being 3-0 so far. Kansas Duke. What are we doing?
Kansas Duke. What do you
Why
have?
Why are you putting these games on your card?
You're very locked into the West Coast teams, which I respect because I don't know that much about these West Coast teams, but like you're nailing BYU, Arizona State, like San Diego State games you're picking, right? Like, so I might have to add San Diego State to this just because, like, I don't know where you're pulling these from. Like, you pay attention to these teams and they're hitting. So, I mean, what am I going to do about it?
I get it. San Diego State, like I said, 3 touchdowns or less. I love it. If there's more, ain't touching it. But Kansas versus Duke, like, again, what are we doing? I mean, this is, what is this, opening week of college basketball at the Champions Classic at the Garden? Like, this is not football. Duke's heavily favored because it's in, what's their town called? I don't even remember what it's called.
Durham,
because it's not college basketball season yet, so I shouldn't know Duke College Town because of football. So either way, stay away. I just wanted to bring that game up because I thought it was interesting.
It is interesting. They have such a weird schedule, Duke. Like they play the who's who of like shit football programs.
They really do. Because they're a shit program too. they got to play against other shitty programs. But moving on, we talked about the Florida game and that's a night game at the Swamp. Always a fun atmosphere there. Don't love the team, don't love it, but I do like your Tennessee first half picks. So I'll probably add that to my card.
Thank you.
Michigan State -5. It just seems too easy to pick. And like I said before about my gut feelings about easy picks, I'm actually going to take it this time. Michigan State -5 in Sparty Land, right? That's an East Lander.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just seems.
No, it's at Nebraska.
No, it's not.
I have it at Nebraska.
No.
Because 5 points at home, with the way they've looked against a not that good Nebraska team, it just seems too easy. But hey, I'll take it.
Okay,
I'll take
whatever, man.
You're gonna find this next one interesting. I got to keep going here. It's got to happen eventually.
Shitload of picks.
I do. It's got to happen eventually. Ohio State first half full game. It's gotta, fool me once, shame on you. Shame me, fool me twice. Blah blah blah. All that. 4th time, ready to hurt again. It's got to hit. Like I gotta just keep rolling with it. I cannot not be there when it finally does. So
true. That's a good point.
Taking both again. 49 points is outrageous, but hey. All right.
Just a brief aside. I don't mean to interrupt your flow. Do you think anyone beats them in the Big Ten?
Yes. I don't know who.
Okay.
Who?
I don't know who. I think this is one of those times that you see, like a random team just might beat them at home. Like I forget. I haven't looked at whatever they're like. If they have like a weird road game, they're like a storm the field type situation you don't expect. But I could see that happening. Because they are beatable. I mean, they could. Which one?
I said Rutgers.
That would be.
Here's who they have next week at Rutgers.
That's juicy.
Maryland at Indiana, home against Penn State, at Nebraska, home against Purdue, home against Michigan State, and then at Big House.
Oh.
If that game was at Purdue, that would be like.
If that game was at Michigan State.
That, I think. Purdue, I just feel like Purdue is one of those teams that upset someone, obviously last week was weird.
Well, they did beat Ohio State that one year.
Oh, that's probably
they beat them like 49-25. Like
that's right. That's
yeah,
right.
they killed them.
So that's probably what's in my brain thinking that. But we're almost at the end here. UAB Tulane, love UAB +4 despite going back to Tulane in New Orleans. That place is a mess, obviously. But some things,
oh my
God. Some things are bigger than sports. I hope to God these kids are spending more time with their family this week than practicing football.
So therefore, the opposite of something.
No.
Some
things their coach.
I had Tulane. What is it? Tulane minus 4.
Tulane.
I'm just saying. What's the spread of this game?
It's 4 points.
Okay, I'm taking Tulane out of respect for the city of New Orleans.
But the thing is, these kids, the coaches should be sending them home to see their families that they haven't seen in 3 weeks. Instead of focusing on football during the week. UAB should come in hot. They
They're
looked
trying to
good this year.
inspire the community through football.
Yeah, but they haven't seen their family in like a month, so that they should be able to focus more on family this week, being back home, not focusing as much on football. UAB comes in
I would
plus
think
4.
it's the opposite.
You know,
Back in
that's
town.
I get
rallying
that.
The community going to the game.
I get that. But
In
you
the
know,
face of a national
practice reps matter too. And
tragedy.
I get that. Hey, I get that. Have the same energy for LSU. You know, but they stink.
They're playing actual teams.
That is fair. Hey, well, UAB I thought was one of your teams, but hey,
No, they're not.
oh, they're dead. Well,
Tulane's good.
that's
Continue,
exactly. You
sorry.
just said that's why I'm taking them plus 4 as well. They looked good this year, 3-0.
Wait. Tulane's plus 4?
No, Tulane's minus 4. UAB is
Okay,
plus 4.
okay,
Yeah, that's what I'm taking it.
Okay.
But then last pick besides my lock, BYU. Like I said, if I was riding them all beginning of the show, I'll keep riding them minus 23 at home against USF.
I like that a lot. USF stinks. I have that on my card too.
And then those last 3 late games are all Pac-12 matchups. And again, keeping with my picks here, staying away from all those stink fests. Boom.
Okay.
Sorry. I didn't mean to make this the Matt Ferry show, but that was.
Like for a while, I kept thinking, all right, like he's almost done, but like you're like halfway through.
I'm sorry. I like giving a pick and giving some little nugget with it.
I like it. No, I like it. Keep doing that. All right, I am disappointed and saddened by each of your cards because Liberty -6 at Syracuse is not on it.
I saw it. I wanted to stay away from Friday night games. I'm tired of my Friday night being ruined.
It is, yeah. I don't like that it's Friday night either, but I just think Syracuse is really bad, and Liberty should win by double digits in this one. I don't care that's at the Carrier Dome. If you have Hugh Freeze and Malik Willis, anything is possible. Clemson -10. It's a huge trap. I'm taking the trap. I'm sticking my hand in the mouse trap, hoping I survive. It's like Clemson has to be.
I'd argue NC State's the trap.
No, well, mate, I don't know.
Who knows?
This has become like when you've gambled for this long that you're thinking like the
Both
trap
sides.
is both sides are somehow the trap. Yeah, but the actual trap is Clemson -10 because to the naked eye, you're like Clemson is 28 points better than NC State. Tennessee first half over 61. Texas Tech, literally the same exact rationale that you had, Ferry. Not the like last time in the Big 12 type thing, but they just always have like 70 plus points. Auburn -27 against Georgia State. They've been stomping these teams that are really bad. They're coming home a little pissed off. Georgia State's bad. They lost by 28 to North Carolina. Not to do like a transitive property of football thing, but I think Auburn's better than North Carolina. This is like they might put up 60 again sort of deal here. Oklahoma State -6 against Kansas State. I like the unranked home team against ranked conference opponent when they're favored. It kind of doesn't really apply as much when it's a 25th ranked team, but I still like Oklahoma State here. UNC -12 against Georgia Tech. UNC's found a groove. I think that they blow out Georgia Tech coming off that was there. They gave it all last week. This week, they're going to take a step back. A&M -5.5, Rutgers +20.5. We talked about Michigan State -5, BYU -22.5, Florida State +2.5. They're winning this week. This is the week.
Florida State
+2.5. They're winning this week.
Respect.
Because Louisville beat UCF and they should be favored by more. This is gambling mind. Florida State wins. Mississippi State +2.5 against LSU. I added UNC, Georgia Tech over 61. You said it right, Ben?
63, I think.
63?
Yes.
I added, I already had Michigan State listed. I almost had them twice. And I'm adding San Diego State spread because Ferry's so passionate about it. And Ferry's been the best gambler on the show, so I'm going to have to follow him.
Knocking on wood for you.
Also, the teaser that I sent in our group chat, I have to announce it on air too. Southern Miss +50.5 and Akron +55. If either of those teams loses by more than 50, you can live with it, which is why I think it's such a valuable, like 6-point teaser -110. You just, you hope that because like Alabama and Ohio State don't need to beat these teams by 50 to change anything.
Fair.
Like they're not going to go out there to try to embarrass them.
Right.
Just kind of my rationale. All right, and then locks of the week. Ben, you can start.
So I've got two. I thought long and hard if I should put two of them in, but these are two teams I love dearly this year. They've helped me out a lot. Number one, Michigan State -4.5 versus Nebraska at home. Apparently, that's not 1A lock. It's slightly above the other one. Number two, Kentucky -5.5 at South Carolina. South Carolina stinks. Kentucky's very good. They're 3-0 and they're not ranked yet. I think they're going to be ranked, then lose a game. My two locks.
All right, very.
I did like that Kentucky game, but I ultimately decided to stay away. But my lock of the week was one of Chuck's picks, OK State -6. Obviously, the college basketball theory, like you said, it's only the 25th team. I think Kansas State losing their quarterback still. And my main reason why is because Kansas State's got a look-ahead game next week at home against Oklahoma. And then the following week, it's against Iowa State, too. So, campus in Manhattan's only thinking about next week at home against Oklahoma. So that's the buzz of the week. Oklahoma State's looked good this year too. So, and Kansas State in their quarterback. I got three reasons here that I think, Oklahoma State -6 is the lock at home.
I like it. I like Bedlam or wherever. I think Bedlam's the name of them in Oklahoma or whatever. But like I'm just not a Kansas State guy. Like, and they picked up a tough win at Boise State. Like that's a high quality win to go in there and beat a very good Boise State
Blue
team. Blue turf at night.
Without their quarterback now, I think that's really just, huge factor. Like, and he was a good quarterback. Like he was coming in. Like they made Colin Klein comparisons to this guy.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So I'm really glad that you like that. I'm now very in on that game because I wasn't sure. Now I'm in. I'm officially in. All right. Lock of the week. Jack Cohn revenge spot in Chicago. Not so fast, my friend, as Lee Corso would say. Wisconsin is going to blow Notre Dame out. They are going to kill Notre Dame this week. It'll be double digits plus. They are so much better than Notre Dame. Wisconsin should be 2-0. They should have beat Penn State. What they did against Penn State, that was very inspiring for the future outlook of their season. They controlled the line of scrimmage. They ran the ball well. Where Notre Dame struggles, they got a lot of pressure on Penn State. They played very good defense all game. They had a couple blown coverages late. Where Notre Dame struggles, I said this coming into the season. That's why I sent it to the group chat today, August 3rd, when that was recorded. Young offensive line. All they have is Kane Madden. They are banged up front. They allowed 7 sacks against Toledo. They haven't run the ball very well. The defense is, I hate using this term, but Swiss cheese. Like, they just give up points left and right. Wisconsin's going to dominate both sides of the ball. And the second reason I love this is that 69% of the money is on Notre Dame, and the spread's going the opposite way. Wisconsin is going to kill this team, which is why it makes it even more interesting in my mind that Notre Dame is favored against Cincinnati. I'm thinking if this might come true, Wisconsin beats Notre Dame, beats them up this week, cover, double-digit win, then Notre Dame ends Cincinnati season the week after, because in theory, Notre Dame has a lot more talent than Cincinnati does of what they bring in, which will be the most talented team Cincinnati's played this season. Wisconsin, they kind of have similar talent levels. So I think that Wisconsin, bottom line, Wisconsin is my favorite pick this week. I love Wisconsin so much in this game. They are going to beat up Notre Dame. It's going to be bad in Chicago. That's like Notre Dame's second city type deal. It's going to be bad.
Sorry, Big Kev. I love it, Chuck. I love it.
It's my love this pick. Already bet it today, 6.5.
You're such a fake Notre Dame fanboy.
Am I either not a fan or am I a fanboy? You can't be Mac. You can't play both sides that way.
You're a fanboy, but you're very bad. You're very bad at being a fanboy.
I mean, I think I've been
so
very
it makes you seem like you're
doing
it ironically.
No, I love Wisconsin this week. It does seem like I'm doing it ironically, doesn't it? I'm 3-0 on locks.
Wow.
So
sick. I'm
yeah.
basically 2-1.
So Wisconsin. It's
That's
a Badgers time. They're making up for dropping a bad loss to Penn State. This is the week.
Fair.
Yeah.
But as my college football fandom would love to see Notre Dame, Cincinnati both undefeated. I think that would be awesome, but I just don't think that's gonna happen.
Very
So,
fair.
Yeah. All right. Any closing thoughts?
Go Nears.
Go Nears.
Hail
Ben.
the Pit.
Hail the Pit.
Big
All
week
right.
this week.
All right. We're all gonna be positive this week, and we're gonna come in the next week's show and get ready for a monster.
I might not lose
October
a game this week.
Okay.
All right.
I think this is the first week we all win our locks. By the way,
I love it. Love it.
I don't see how any of these picks lose.
Could be maybe a
I
little
might
pick and
parlay them
parlay.
all.
Yeah. Pick and parlay. Yeah.
I might have to do that. I think that's a good idea.
Let's go.
I think
Or
someone should.
tease.
Ferry, I think you should take my teaser with me.
I'll take it because I need something to hedge my Ohio State pick. So
Okay,
that's not
yeah,
gonna happen.
perfect.
All right.
You can middle it at
Yeah.
50.
Yeah. That would be perfect.
Yeah,
That would be perfect.
52-0. Ohio State win.
We're all rich. Let's get rich.
All right, that's the show. See you next week. Week 5. Week 5 college football. October. Pumpkin spice lattes.
Let's win some money.